So I had one crazy night in Miami, and here's how it went down. This is a true story. I have never told anyone this before. So let's just get right into it. It was going to be an epic night because we were celebrating our friend Maya's birthday. We decided to go to Sugar on the River. They had a pretty good deal where if you got there before 11:30, you could get in free. Little did we know that we would not be leaving until the next morning at around 9 a.m. It was about 2 a.m. and my friends and I were getting ready for a night out in South Beach. When we got there, I was like, oh wow, this place is massive. We were going to start at Sugar, then we were going to go to Mango's, then to a rooftop bar, and then to a beach party. So obviously I couldn't do that if I went to live, especially because LIV is in the heart of downtown Miami, and it was a whole other adventure just getting there. And I'm like, wait, what? Bathroom? Anyway, after I gave the guy my number, which I honestly don't recommend doing, he left to go get his car while I ran back to my friends and told them what had just happened. Is someone gonna have to stay with me? Oh my God, I can't wait to tell my mom this. It was around 4 a.m. and I was like, where are my friends? I need to find my friends. So I'm like, hey, who has a car? Can someone drive me home? I'm too drunk to drive. But luckily, a girl that I went to high school with, who I hadn't seen in years, offered to drive me home. Thank God. So I called an Uber and headed to a late night spot where we usually go for food after a night out. But this time, I had something else in mind. And I was like, holy cow, what is this place? This is unlike any other taco place I've ever seen. The walls were covered in graffiti and murals and the music was pumping. I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. I haven't seen them since I left with this random guy. And then my friends started to show up one by one. And I was like, what? And you can come here during the day to work remote or meet up with friends for a girls' night out? And I learned that this city will keep giving you surprises no matter how many times you visit. Because trust me, it's a lot different than what you see on TV. Even if you think you've seen it all, it's definitely worth coming back for more. How are you guys here? How did you get here? How did you find me? I was like, no way. They're closed, right? It's 6 in the morning. They have to be closed. But then I looked on Google and it said they were open. So I was like, well, we waited this long. Might as well just keep waiting. And I'm so glad we did because getting a sandwich at 6 a.m. after a night out is one of the best feelings ever. They were all like, we have no clue. We were reminiscing about all the wild moments and just laughing hysterically about how crazy it was that we randomly ran into the Kardashians and then ended up at the same spot as them later that night. We were at a beach party and then we lost each other and then we met up here randomly. But there's one place. I haven't mentioned yet that we hit on our beach crawl. And that place is called Egg Pink. And I haven't talked about this place yet, but it's basically this over-the-top themed bar that's covered in flamingos and pinks and everything girly. It's kind of like the sister bar to Soho Beach House, but it's open to the public. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. If you've never been to Coyo Taco, it's basically this taco and tequila spot that's open late night. Now, if you've never been to La Sandwicherie, it's basically this French-inspired sandwich shop that's open 24 hours. It's also a Miami classic, and you gotta go at least once in your life. It's usually packed with people leaving clubs and bars, and there's always a line to get in. But this night, I had no idea that I was in for a world of a surprise. And she's like, hey, do you want to stop by my place? I live in a hotel, and you can crash there if you want. I was like, sure, why not? So we get to this hotel, and I think it was the Gale Hotel, if I remember correctly. But as we walk in, I see this sign that says E11 even. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think this is where my friends went. So I said goodbye to my high school friend, thank her for driving me and saving me from having to drive home drunk, and then I head to E11 even, and then came back, and then saw the Kardashians, and now I know where anyone is. I need to find my friends. So I started looking for them. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Because I knew I was in for a long night. As I was walking outside to get some air, I saw this pink convertible pull up, and out stepped Kris Jenner and her daughter Kylie Jenner. And at this point I was like, what is happening? Why am I here? It's basically a full-on nightclub inside of a hotel, except it's open 24 hours. So you can go in at 1 a.m. and stay there all day and night and no one would bat an eye. It's just wild. This is so surreal. Are the Kardashians here? Am I here? What is going on? This is crazy. I literally couldn't believe my eyes. Was this a dream? When we finally got there, I walked in and I was like, oh my gosh, this place is huge. And it was packed. wall to wall, floor to ceiling, no space to breathe, everyone dancing, music booming. And to make it worse, I had not eaten all day. So I was starving, and my blood sugar was really low. Of course, I'm kidding. My mom would probably kill me if I told her that I got this random guy's number, went to the bathroom with him, and then left with him to go to a random club. But anyway, I digress. We were all laughing hysterically, and my friend Maya was like, "No, you have to go. It's gonna be so much fun." I knew I wouldn't regret it. He comes back and he's like, "You wanna come to the bathroom with me?" No. I was very much so taken aback because I was like, hold up, this guy just invited me to the bathroom, which means one thing. He wants to hook up. But I didn't say yes, and I didn't say no. I was kind of just like, yeah, sure, why not? So off we go to the bathroom together. But by 11:30, they were turning people away. So lucky we got there on time. At this point I was like, yeah, sure, why not? By the way, if you're new here, I'm a Miami-based content creator. And this is everything you didn't know you wanted to know about living in the Magic City. But I think he should have seen the look on my face when I said, yeah, sure. Because what he didn't realize was that I had absolutely no intention of actually going to LIV. Like, I was not sober enough to go to live. And I definitely was. And gone. Nah. Be able to take care of myself if I did go to live. Once inside, it was kind of hard to navigate, because I was basically holding onto a pole for my dear life, just trying to stay upright. But luckily, we made it to the dance floor, and that's where things started to get crazy. I remember being on the dance floor when suddenly this guy comes up to me, starts talking to me, flirting with me, and then he goes to the bathroom. And once we get there, it gets even crazier, because instead of hooking up in the bathroom, he turns to me and he's like, "Do you want to go to live?" So little did he know, I was playing him the entire time, and he took me to the most epic club in all of Miami, which I will talk more about later. Now, when I said that I had no intention of going to live, I truly meant it, because my friends and I had already planned our night out. The drive from South Beach to downtown Miami is usually only 15 minutes, but this was far from a normal night, which I'll explain later on. So now it is time to get ready to go to LIV, and I just kept thinking to myself, how am I going to get home after this? As we got closer and closer to live, I kept thinking to myself, at this point, I was starting to feel really claustrophobic, so I had to get some fresh air. But then that's when things got even wilder. I ended up staying at Live for a couple of hours, but I was so done at this point. And then finally I found them, and we left. On the way out, I was still trying to figure out how I was going to get home. So off we go, heading back towards South Beach. This is another one of those venues that you have to experience to believe. After staying at E11, even for a bit, I realized that my friends were nowhere to be found. So I end up at Coyo Taco. As I walk in, I see this giant bullhead that says, "Welcome to the jungle." But then I sat down at the bar and ordered a drink. We ended up staying at Coco Taco until around 6 a.m. when we were like, okay, we need some real food. Got there around 6 a.m. and the line was out the door, wrapped around the block. The rest of the morning we were just recovering from our epic night out. So yeah, that was my one crazy night in Miami. If you haven't been, highly recommend checking it out because it's a total vibe. So yeah, that's it. It's how my one crazy night in Miami went down. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my vlog about what it's actually like to live in Miami.